mayoral candidate being challenged. The saga surrounding embattled South suburban politician.
The political crisis in Dalton, Illinois, has reached a level of turmoil rarely seen in local government, with Mayor Tiffany Henyard at the center of an unfolding drama that rivals a soap opera. From the shutdown of township services to lawsuits, federal investigations, and a relentless media spotlight, Henyard's leadership has become synonymous with controversy. As her tenure becomes mired in scandal, many are left wondering how things spiraled so far out of control. The headlines seem unending, each day revealing new layers of mismanagement, corruption, and personal misconduct. Critics argue that Henyard's time in office has been defined by power struggles, poor decisions, and a failure to govern effectively, contributing to the chaos that now engulfs the town. Federal investigations are reportedly examining her actions, including allegations of financial mismanagement, misuse of public funds, and retaliatory practices, all of which have fueled a deepening distrust in her administration. Meanwhile, lawsuits against the township are piling up, accusing Henyard's leadership of unlawful practices, harassment, and abuse of power. This has painted a grim picture of the governing culture under her watch. One of the most controversial decisions has been the closure of township services, sparking outrage among residents who feel abandoned and unheard. The growing disillusionment reflects broader systemic issues that have plagued Dalton for years. Public opinion of Henyard has sharply declined, with critics claiming her focus is more on consolidating power than addressing the town's urgent problems. The media frenzy surrounding her leadership only intensifies, with every scandal amplifying the negative portrayal of her administration. Supporters have tried to reframe the narrative, but the unrelenting barrage of bad press and ongoing scandals have made it difficult to regain any semblance of credibility. As the list of grievances grows, ranging from intimidation and harassment claims to reports of secretive deals and questionable alliances, the town remains deeply divided. Residents and officials alike have been split into opposing camps of passionate supporters and fierce critics, further fueling the political chaos. Amid this growing turmoil, one question lingers: how did things get so bad? As the controversies continue to unfold, Dalton's residents are left to pick up the pieces, demanding accountability and wondering if their community can ever recover from this political mess. For now, it seems the drama surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard is far from over, with each day bringing new developments and keeping the town and the wider public on edge.
Today, and trustees who are calling it a ploy.
What's going on?
On Wednesday morning, the doors of the Thornton Township building were unexpectedly locked, with a sign posted announcing its sudden closure. Both residents and employees were left confused and frustrated, scrambling to understand the cause of the disruption. The length of the closure was unclear, as was its impact on essential services. People seeking assistance, including those applying for food programs, waited in vain for employees who never arrived. This marked the first shutdown of the township, triggering confusion and growing frustration, especially among staff like the township assessor, who, like everyone else, had no information on the situation. Among the concerned residents was a man desperately trying to submit paperwork for a food assistance program. His visible frustration at the locked doors mirrored the sentiments of many others. "What happens next?" he asked, his voice echoing through the empty halls. No further information was provided beyond the sign, and with the lights turned off and no employees in sight, the building stood eerily quiet. The shutdown was a result of a political deadlock that has paralyzed the township. A series of meetings failed to reach a quorum because two trustees, Carmen Carlisle and Chris Gonzalez, were absent. Mayor Tiffany Henyard claims their absences were a deliberate effort to block her from filling a vacant trustee position, which would give her a tie-breaking vote on the board. This political standoff has turned into a full-blown crisis, as the township cannot renew its insurance without a quorum, jeopardizing essential services and jobs. Henyard has warned that without insurance, critical programs like senior transport and after-school initiatives could be discontinued, directly affecting vulnerable groups like children and seniors who depend on these services. The prospect of over 100 employees facing layoffs has only heightened community anxiety over the shutdown's consequences. The lack of a quorum has paralyzed the township's ability to govern, leaving essential services hanging in the balance. Henyard has emphasized that the stakes are high. with the possibility of layoffs underscoring the human cost of this political deadlock. The ongoing situation has raised serious concerns about why partisan disputes are taking precedence over the community's well-being. For residents, the immediate questions are how long the closure will last, which services will be affected, and whether the township's leadership can overcome these political hurdles to restore stability. Vital programs remain in jeopardy. Employees are uncertain about their futures, and the township faces mounting criticism for its failure to prevent this crisis. The locked doors and darkened offices of Thornton Township stand as a grim reminder of a governance system paralyzed by division, leaving the community to face an uncertain future while demanding answers and solutions to this escalating crisis.
The doors are locked here, and there's a sign on the building right now that says it's closed. For how long? Neither residents.
The growing insurance scandal has intensified scrutiny of Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration, raising serious questions about the transparency and integrity of her financial planning. Critics argue that years of unchecked spending and questionable purchases under Henyard's leadership have exacerbated the township's financial struggles, leaving residents wondering where their tax dollars have gone. Among the most glaring examples is a series of $40,000 in unexplained Amazon purchases, which has become a focal point for those demanding accountability. Tensions flared during a recent town hall meeting when a resident asked, "What else are they hiding?" A question that captured the mounting frustration within the community. Henyard has repeatedly denied the allegations, insisting that her administration inherited a financial disaster and that she has been working tirelessly to address long-standing fiscal issues. She presents herself as a reformer determined to fix the neglect and poor management left by previous leaders. However, a limited audit of Dalton's finances has only fueled skepticism, revealing questionable purchases that critics argue point to poor oversight and mismanagement, rather than any meaningful progress. Henyard's supporters contend that the township's financial troubles were inevitable, given the pre-existing challenges. But critics counter that her administration's spending patterns and lack of financial accountability have made matters worse. The ongoing insurance crisis has become emblematic of this tension, with its failure to renew highlighting claims of governance failure and an inability to meet key administrative deadlines due to political gridlock on the board. This crisis has amplified concerns about whether the township's leadership can effectively manage its financial obligations, particularly as essential programs and services hang in the balance. For residents and employees, the consequences of these alleged fiscal missteps are deeply personal. They face the real threat of layoffs and the potential loss of critical services, such as senior transport and after-school programs, services vital to vulnerable populations. These disruptions underscore the human cost of administrative failures and the urgent need for a resolution to the financial crisis. Critics have also pointed to Henyard's handling of past controversies, suggesting that her leadership style involves deflecting blame and portraying herself as a victim of inherited challenges. Despite these claims, many residents remain concerned about the administration's financial priorities, asking why expenditures like the infamous Amazon purchases have gone unaccounted for, while the township struggles to maintain even the most basic services. This ongoing financial turmoil has deepened the divide between Henyard's supporters and her critics, heightening tension and mistrust within the community. The political deadlock has made it even harder to find a resolution, and the lack of transparency surrounding the administration's finances has only worsened the situation. While Henyard's defenders point to the systemic challenges she faces and her efforts to implement solutions, skeptics argue that these explanations are insufficient for justifying the current state of affairs. They contend that the administration's failure to prioritize fiscal responsibility and transparency is a key factor in the ongoing crisis. The insurance scandal is not just a budgeting issue. It is a reflection of broader governance concerns under Henyard's leadership. As public confidence continues to erode, the question remains, can Henyard's administration restore trust and guide the township out of financial peril? Each new revelation only deepens the community's demand for answers and accountability, with the implications extending far beyond just numbers. Henyard's leadership style is increasingly viewed as opaque and unresponsive to the concerns of a community already struggling with debt and service disruptions. The narrative surrounding the insurance failure and audit findings paints a troubling picture of Dalton stuck in a cycle of fiscal mismanagement and political discord. Residents are left frustrated and uncertain about the future under Henyard's leadership. While Henyard calls for patience as she tackles the financial challenges inherited from previous administrations, critics insist that the ongoing scandals reveal a deeper pattern of neglect and poor decision-making that cannot be ignored. This growing sense of frustration is fueling calls for change and greater transparency in how the township's finances are managed. The pressure on Henyard to address both the immediate crisis and the long-term financial health of Dalton will only intensify, with residents demanding clear answers and a path to recovery.
No comment from Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Voters here will first head to the polls in February for the primary.
The situation in Thornton Township has reached a boiling point as controversy surrounds Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration, leaving both residents and township employees caught in an ongoing cycle of political turmoil, alleged financial mismanagement, and power struggles. Anonymous employees have described the work environment as increasingly unstable, with one noting that residents feel like pawns in a political chess game, as essential services hang in the balance and job security remains uncertain. The township's inability to renew its insurance, leading to disruptions in critical programs, has only heightened frustration. Residents who rely on these services are now questioning whether Henyard's administration can regain enough stability to fulfill its promises, while others argue that the situation points to a deeper dysfunction in leadership. Trustees Carmen Carlisle and Chris Gonzalez have openly accused Henyard of using the insurance crisis to force the appointment of a trustee aligned with her, claiming her actions are part of high-stakes political gamesmanship. Carlisle has dismissed Henyard's tactics as high school behavior, arguing that the insurance issue could have been resolved months ago, and that Henyard is exploiting the crisis to consolidate power. Gonzalez, too, suggested that Henyard's handling of the insurance debacle is a calculated move to maintain control over the township's governance, especially with the upcoming elections in mind. Both trustees contend that Henyard's attempt to link the insurance issue with appointing a trustee only deepens the gridlock that has stalled essential governance, further undermining the township's ability to function. Henyard's political adversaries argue that her administration has focused more on maintaining personal influence than addressing the township's most pressing issues. While the mayor claims her efforts are aimed at advancing development, critics assert that she has failed to prioritize the well-being of the residents she was elected to serve. Allegations of financial mismanagement, including extravagant expenditures such as over $100,000 in taxpayer-funded travel and entertainment, have only eroded public trust. One notable expense was an $85,000 concert that was poorly attended, prompting residents to question the appropriateness of such spending during a time of financial difficulty. Henyard has also faced scrutiny over her cancer charity, which allegedly failed to account for donations, raising further concerns about her administration's transparency and fiscal responsibility. Reports indicate that federal agencies, including the FBI, are investigating how Henyard has managed township funds, particularly in relation to state-funded programs. This investigation has intensified the criticism surrounding her leadership and raised broader concerns about her stewardship of public resources. Legal disputes have further added to Henyard's embattled reputation. After being excluded from the ballot for the upcoming township supervisor election, Henyard filed a lawsuit against the Thornton Township Democrats, accusing them of voter suppression and alleging that her supporters were unfairly excluded from the nomination process. In a press conference, Henyard compared herself to Rosa Parks, calling the caucus a hostile takeover and vowing to fight against what she described as a politically motivated effort to silence her. However, critics have dismissed her comparison as exaggerated, with State Senator Napoleon Harris, the township's Democratic Party chair, categorically denying the allegations and labeling the lawsuit as frivolous. Harris's lawyer pointed out that caucuses operate under their own rules, suggesting that Henyard's claims of manipulation are without merit. Meanwhile, township residents have grown increasingly vocal, calling for new leadership that prioritizes the community over personal ambitions. Many have expressed frustration with what they perceive as Henyard's self-serving governance style. One resident stated, "We need action, someone who works for the people, not for themselves." As Henyard's critics continue to highlight her perceived failures, questions about the viability of her leadership loom large. Her insistence on linking the resolution of critical issues to politically advantageous outcomes, combined with the growing list of controversies surrounding her tenure, has led many to question whether she has lost the confidence of the community she was elected to serve. This turmoil has left township employees and residents in a state of uncertainty. Vital programs such as senior transportation and after-school initiatives remain in jeopardy due to the ongoing insurance crisis, and the possibility of staff layoffs hangs over the community. The growing list of unresolved issues and the lack of clear leadership have left many wondering how much longer the political deadlock can continue before the township's governance completely unravels. As Henyard's critics demand change, and the community grows increasingly frustrated with her leadership, the future of Thornton Township appears to be in a precarious position. The political drama, financial mismanagement, and power struggles have created an instability that threatens the township's ability to provide the services its residents rely on. With the controversy continuing to unfold, the question remains: can Henyard navigate these challenges, restore trust, and lead the township out of its crisis? Or will the growing call for new leadership finally force her from power?
Government to provide a way to provide services, and we're not doing that because they're stalling government gridlocking. Because
according to court documents, Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her boyfriend, Camel Woods, owe over $13,000 in past due rent and late fees for a house in Indiana. The landlord claims the last payment was made in August, but Henyard has been unable to access the property due to locked doors. Despite this, Woods is reportedly still living there, even though Henyard was supposed to vacate the property by October. This financial and personal turmoil has raised serious questions about her stability, with critics arguing that it's distracting her from her responsibilities as a public official. Recently, the Thornton Township building was locked, with no one answering the main phone lines, leaving residents frustrated. The township provides vital services for low-income households, such as heating and electricity assistance, but these services have been jeopardized. In a recent press conference, Henyard allowed reporters into a small vacant office, but later informed them she would not speak to certain local newspapers or bloggers. This approach to media access has only worsened the already strained relationship between Henyard and the press, drawing heavy criticism. Many feel that her behavior suppresses free expression and transparency, both of which are crucial for a healthy democracy. The situation became even more contentious when reporters from the Harvey World Herald and Land Dancing Magazine were asked to leave the premises. A YouTuber covering the event posted a video asking, "How is this woman not in prison by now?" Such remarks reflect the growing frustration of residents who are fed up with the ongoing political drama and feel it is detracting from the real issues facing their community. One comment from a resident stated, "I'm so tired of hearing about her. Can't they just get her out of there?" Despite these criticisms, Henyard has remained defiant. Earlier this year, she posted on social media declaring her intention to run for re-election, framing her campaign as an opportunity to bring much-needed change to Dalton. However, challengers are already lining up. Senior trustee Jason House, who is running against her for mayor, has promised to prioritize ethics reform and restore public trust if elected. He stressed that the stakes in the upcoming election are extremely high, with several candidates, including House and Pandra Hobson, vying for the mayor position in both the February primary and the April general elections. Another opponent, Jordan, who defeated one of Henyard's allies in court to secure a spot on the ballot, has positioned himself as a reformer, calling the current situation one of democracy and apocalypse. His lawyer, Pericle Zassi, also weighed in, calling the legal challenges against Henyard blatantly hypocritical. Henyard has undoubtedly been one of the most recognizable figures in the media lately, with constant coverage of her leadership and the chaos surrounding the township. Services are being disrupted, employees face layoffs, and federal investigators are reportedly circling, leaving residents to wonder how long this political circus can continue. The difficulties ahead appear daunting, but perhaps the more pressing question is whether voters will demand accountability or allow the chaos to persist. The upcoming elections could provide the community with an opportunity to resolve the ongoing turmoil, but the outcome remains uncertain. As the situation continues to evolve, many are left wondering if Henyard should step down or if she deserves a chance to defend her record. How will the controversies surrounding her administration impact the upcoming elections? Will voters use their power to demand change, or will they let the drama continue? Let us know your thoughts. Should Tiffany Henyard resign, or does she deserve a chance to defend her actions? Stay informed, get involved, and feel free to share your opinions in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next update.